There's now an effort to improve Manatee County's oldest cemetery, which has connections to some of America's most historical moments. Officials say the 1850 Manatee Burying Ground in Bradenton is in need of a facelift. ABC 7's Rick Adams spent some time at the cemetery today and has more.
Well, as you walk through the gate here onto the grounds of the cemetery, you could really feel the history. There's a strong push now to preserve this history and to preserve these grounds. The wear and tear of the 1850 Manatee Burying Ground in Bradenton is evident. Phaedra Carter with the Manatee Village Historical Park says a prime example of some of the problems facing this historical landmark occurred last summer.
We don't think that it was any malicious intent, but someone applied a little bit of pressure to the top of one of the graves and it caved in.
Carter is leading the effort to help protect Manatee County's oldest cemetery. Her organization has applied for a state grant with additional money coming from the city of Bradenton, which owns the property. Money would go towards better maintenance of the grounds, developing an educational webpage, and determining the exact number of people buried at the site.
We know of at least 94 burials here. There could be upwards of 200. We just don't know for certain because of a lack of markers. So part of that process is to run a ground penetrating radar scan.
There are many important folks buried here, including some of the original settlers to the area, and Brigadier General John Reagan, who was Secretary of Telegraphs for Ulysses S. Grant. We're being told there are also at least 11 Confederate soldiers and 3 Union soldiers buried in the cemetery, among a few other historical figures. For Bradenton resident and history buff Angela Gilmore, she's happy to hear there's talk about improving the cemetery.
I've been to the historical village many times and walked through the cemetery. I think it's really cool to walk through the cemeteries and just read the headstones and see when the people lived.
There's also discussion about building new fencing around the cemetery to better protect it from vandals. Carter says she's going to continue to push hard to better preserve this important piece of history.
Just like any historic structure, facilities age. That includes tombstones. Nothing lasts forever, but there are best practices and measures that can be taken to ensure the longevity of historical resources like this.
And folks from the Manatee Village Historical Park are confident they can get the funding they need sooner than later so they can help bring this cemetery back to life. Reporting from Bradenton, I'm Rick Adams, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.